Hello there, this is Project Swift. I am casting a game for the first time in what seems like forever. It has been ages, but finally I get in there and cast another one of these fabulous .is hard matchups. I've been playing lots lately, been playing heaps, I've been trying to get that the Pandemonium team up and running. We did quite well in Tide's Wrath, got knocked out last night up against Yellow Solo Mid. But we did quite well, we got to the top 12 teams, so with that off to the side, now I can get back into some casting and I can start managing .is hard a bit more again. So, this will also be the first match that I've casted since the new massive patch of 6.79 where everything changed, the whole game changed. It was great, I loved that patch, it was fantastic. There were so many changes that I liked and that I agreed with, and it really brought the game away from the traditional Warcraft 3 dota. It's sort of like starting to break outside of those boundaries. So that is something that I really enjoy, and it sort of marks that there will be big plans for the future in Dota. So it should be good. For this draft specifically, we've seen lots of sort of high meta picks and bans at the moment. The first ban of the Lich. Lich is a bastard of a hero these days with his the friggin' sacrifice? Dark Ritual? One of the two. His sacrifice giving experience to those around of the units that you do sacrifice. So it is pretty brutal, being able to take away a lot of that experience. But there are lots of quick picks and bans, so I might have to scoot on. We've got the Mirana, who didn't see too many changes. The leap now gives the speed bonus, the attack speed bonus was doubled, and the speed bonus now affects heroes where you leap from. Darkseer did get nerfed, but he's still seeing a lot of play. He's still quite a strong hero. Vacuum got nerfed. The cooldown is now 28 seconds, so it's quite a long time in between vacuums. Crystal Maiden got picked up. I don't specifically remember any buffs or nerfs or anything, but the changes to supports, especially the changes to Tranquil Boots, do make her much better than she was before. And Leshrac, I don't specifically remember any changes to Leshrac either. But similar sort of situation to Crystal Maiden. The buffs to the supports, the gold buffs, the experience buffs, the getting money when you deward, the changes to the boots do make the support roles a bit easier, and you sort of start seeing a wider variety of those supports coming in. So, should be fun here. We've got the bans of, well, we've got a first ban of the Night Stalker and the Jakiro. So Jakiro banned out with that Darkseer, and yeah, the friggin' Jakiro Darkseer combo, the vacuum into Ice Wall or Ice Path is pretty brutal. It can really stuff up team fights if you're on the receiving end of that. And the ban of the Night Stalker, so reducing the Night Stalker's got that interesting change to his ultimate where when he casts it, he reduces every bit of vision on the enemy team by 20%, so cuts it down to quite a bit. Like most nighttime visions are 600 units, which is basically the attack range of most ranged heroes. So being able to cut into those sight dependent or cast range dependent heroes like Mirana, who needs to be able to see where she's arrowing most of the time, unless you're like friggin' awesome. Yeah, it does really sort of cut into those a bit. And also having like the that dewarding range and all that sort of stuff, it makes it much more annoying. It's really interesting skill. We've got the bans of Nature's Prophet and Weaver, so two really slippery, annoying heroes that both teams just don't feel like dealing with at the moment. So, while we're waiting on a few of the other picks, I just want to speculate. I just want to like talk through and speculate a couple of the other things that I've been seeing in the 6.79 things that have been coming out. So like doing dual lanes with Invoker, that's a really fun one that I've been seeing. That's one that I thought about way back before Invoker got nerfed with his massive base damage nerf. Doing like Ancient Apparition and Quace-based Invoker dual lane, so you just cold snap someone and then the Ancient Apparition cold feats and you just constant cold snap going off, and then you get that 3-second hold at the end of it. It's 2-second hold, I think it is. It's pretty huge, and I quite like that lane, and I want to try it again, see how it goes. We got back into the draft. We've got a Juggernaut pickup, so we're going to be seeing a fairly traditional lane of Crystal Maiden and Juggernaut. That's a good old school lane. That's slow into the spin, and then an insta pick of the Sand King straight up. So looks like we might be having a Sand King, Leshrac, Mirana aggro tri lane, which is fairly brutal. That is a lot of seconds of stun if you land all three of them.
5 seconds.
But some of the changes to Juggernaut is interesting as well. The changes to his ultimate mostly, being able to use items in the middle of your ultimate, is really quite changes it quite a bit and makes it really, really good. You can do things like if you get a really fast level 11, and you pick up a Mask of Madness as well. The Mask of Madness, as well as I think just the Mask of Madness by itself, gives you an extra attack in between each one of your Omni slashes. So you can cast your ultimate in a team fight and then activate the Mask of Madness straight after. And you're effectively getting 12 hits. You're effectively getting 12 hits in there. And that will shred most team fights at level 11. So that is a really interesting change. You can also do things like blink. You can start only slashing creeps and then blink onto a lone hero. It's kind of cool. We've got pickups of Magnus and Vengeful Spirits. So the Hand ladies down on the Radiant side are just doing some serious stun lineups. We've got Mirana, Leshrac, Sand King, Vengeful Spirit. That's just lots and lots and lots of stun. Vengeful Spirit gives that good sight range for the Mirana to line up those arrows and swaps to bring people in and out. Whereas the DiH team at the moment, who don't have a team name activated, are going for a reasonably wombo combo. We've got the Magnus and the Darkseer, so Crystal Maiden and the Juggernaut ultis. So pretty much if Darkseer just vacuums everyone in, Magnus stomps them all, Crystal Maiden ultis, and then Juggernaut just goes rampage on them with that Omni Slash. He's going to kill off. That's going to win most team fights. And then we've got a final pick of a Pugna. So Pugna can lay down a blast or two. He's like kind of cool for that reason. But that Pugna ward, the Nether ward, is seeing a lot of good uses. It's pretty brutal. The mana degen is pretty huge, and also that damage. The damage when taking 1.75 times the cost of mana used to cast the skill is pretty huge. There are some fun little things you can do with Nether ward. Some fun facts are hang on, just let me do the maths in my head. Yes. So a level 16 Shadow Shaman with no health items, so just like the basic skills for a level 16 Shadow Shaman, will die if he casts all his skills while decrepified. Yes, it uses up that much mana that the Shadow Shaman will actually just die outright if he casts all his skills next to a Pugna ward. Fun little fact there. So go out there and kill some high mana casting spells. Some heroes with some high mana casting spells. Got a quick pause here, and the last pick up was the Troll Warlords. So what they said. Yeah, so the last pickup was Troll Warlord. I'm not terribly. I don't know about the Troll Warlord pickup. It's like, I don't know, he's always good. He's a good hero. He has incredible nuke potential from level 3 to 5, which is what this team seems to be going for. So that will fit in quite nicely. But his ultimate, they've got the Mirana and they've got the Vengeful Spirit and Leshrac. Both of all of those heroes have got a bit of right click. Not very much to go with that Battle Trance, but it's a little bit. So yeah, we'll see how that gets going. Alright, so we've got some unpauses going. The teams are ready to get into it, so I'll just introduce everybody. Starting from left to right, so Miss A with the Love Heart is going to be playing the Troll Warlord and has captained the Radiant team. Ellie with a Love Heart is going to be playing the Sand King, with Soapy Cub going on the Vengeful Spirit. Ada L is going to be playing the Leshrac. Looks like we've got a Sand King Leshrac dual mid, that should be fun. And a Nooksy with a Love Heart is going to be playing on the Mirana. On the Dire team, Breeze is going to be playing the Juggernaut, who I believe also captained this team. SS Que Pasa Omi is going to be playing the Magnus, with the Lala Fish? Ilera Fish 520. I'll call him 520. Pugna is going to be playing the Pugna. Shox is on the Crystal Maiden. And Mohammed Chong bin Allah Singh. Mohammed Chong bin Allah Singh is going to be playing the Darkseer. So, that's the two team lineups for this game. And at the moment, we've got all four coming top to protect the pool on the Dire team. So they don't want this pool blocked. They want to be able to have access to that. Damn cats, always getting on fire. So that's an interesting choice, just getting out here, just defending this pool block. Maybe they really want to get in there, because I personally, if I saw this Radiant team, I would be anticipating an aggressive tri-lane. So trying to catch one or two of them out coming into ward would be really beneficial if you could do it. But if they came in and suddenly there was all five of them, I think that the Radiant team has a much better level 1 teamfight capabilities than the Dire team. So if everyone came in, the Dire team would be at a disadvantage, but if they're able to catch out one or two heroes as they wander into ward, that would be quite beneficial. So I think that's what they're trying to do here. We'll probably be looking at the... You know what? I have no idea. We might be having a Pugna. Yeah, it looks like we're having a Pugna support in the tri-lane. So we'll have Crystal Maiden slow them down, and as soon as the Juggernaut starts spinning, the Pugna will decrepify for that extra spell damage. And Magnus will probably be heading mid, going up against this dual lane. I think the Magnus might have an interesting time against this dual lane. I think most heroes will have an interesting time against this dual lane. That is 4 seconds of stun at level 1, over 4 seconds of stun, because the Sand King's is 2.17. So that is a lot of level 1 stun. So you can right click down most heroes within 4 seconds with that little bit of extra damage going on top. So that will be an interesting one to watch out for. See how that Magnus does up against it. But with this ward and trying to protect the pool, the Mirana, played by Anuxi, is just sitting down here nice and safe. And here goes the gong. And we can get this game started.
Well, if you say so.
So yes, I'm interested to see how this tri-lane top goes. The Pugna with the Crystal Maiden and the Juggernaut should be a lot of damage, should be quite interesting. The Magnus drops down this little ward up the top here, and will spot out the Leshrac and the Sand King through that ward, so he knows what he's getting himself into, and it's gonna be dangerous, it's gonna be hairy. Meanwhile, on the safe lane here, we've got the Vengeful Spirit and the Troll Warlord going up against the Darkseer, so that's two really high damage nuke heroes going up against the Darkseer. Unfortunately, they don't get a lot of their damage. A little bit of a premature stun there. Just probably could have harassed the Darkseer out of the lane, like they're doing up here with the Mirana. Just, oh no, they threw out all their spells. The Juggernaut did not use Blade Fury, probably was not close enough, or didn't want to use it, as the Mirana may have leapt away. But yes, could have just harassed out that Darkseer instead of throwing out that stun and blowing that mana. Just something to consider. But once the Troll hits level 3 and has that really high nuke damage that Troll is known for around level 3, that Darkseer is going to have to be playing pretty safe, because he could get knocked out pretty quickly. This Leshrac here is doing a pretty good job of zoning out the Magnus. It is difficult to zone out the mid hero, yeah, in a 2 versus 1 lane, because the area that you have to work with is so small. Zoning them all the way out of experience range is quite difficult. You can sort of get that bit of harass in, but then you aggro the creeps onto you, and as you can see now, like, the Leshrac isn't actually going in and harassing the Magnus, as the creep aggro would probably cause more damage to the Leshrac than the Magnus would take from those auto attacks. But just sort of standing around, standing next to the creep wave, standing just in front of the creep wave, just adds that little bit of threat and adds that little bit of doubt. And right now, one more attack and just caught the tail end of that first blood on the Mirana. Nuxie goes down. There was, yep, lots of spells were blown. Pugna didn't have to use any of the spells unless they regened up. Nope. But Crystal Maiden used both her spells into a Juggernaut spin, so lots of damage taken, and Mirana is a squishy hero. You can't be caught. As I say that, you can't be caught out as a Mirana. You only have a very, very tiny base life. Good little arrow there, throwing in some harass, but is unable to follow it up. Yeah, so that is one of the things with Mirana. You have to use your leap to get out of range of things before they happen. It's kind of difficult to play reactively as Mirana, I guess. When heroes come out and stun you, you're going to die, but within reason. But yes, yeah, you sort of want to leap out of the way before anything happens, before anything hits you. So Troll Warlord and Vengeful Spirit have both hit level 3 at the same time as the Darkseer. Darkseer is not that much ahead in experience, not in front of the Troll Warlord, so he's sitting in between. Interesting use of the Ion Shell there, putting it on the siege creep that stops these other two heroes coming up and harassing him. Vengeful Spirit taking a little bit of tower harass there, a little bit more than he probably needed to. But if they are able to get a kill on this Darkseer, that will be quite useful. I don't know if they'll be able to now. The Darkseer's sort of starting to get up a little bit more health. The nuke potential of this lane is starting to drop off a little bit compared to that health, and that Ion Shell is going to start doing lots of damage. But we have a smoke rotation from the Pugna as well as the Crystal Maiden coming mid. Right now, it's just the Sand King. The Leshrac's not here to help out. Where is the Leshrac? Leshrac is wandering through the jungle, and I think this is a dead Sand King. We've got very, very short. Oh, we got lots of AoE, and there we go. The final AoE kicks it in, and the Sand King does die. So that's a smoke rotation in, and they do pick up that kill on that mid Sand King. Yeah, right now the mid Sand King and the Leshrac aren't sort of holding up their end of the deal. They aren't able to kill this Magnus off very well. With those rotations, well, the Mirana not being much of a threat, so the supports were able to rotate out quite easily.
Radiant's middle tower is being attacked.
I know they tried to stop that tango, like the pooling, but it still happens, guys. Tango pooling still happens. Got our 4 seconds of stun roaming back into the mid here, seeing if they can pick off a Magnus. Nope, Leshrac disappears off, is wandering down, starting to stack creeps, I believe. Possibly going for a rotation and gonna try and knock off this Darkseer. Pings are going out, and we've got Vengeful Spirit wandering a little bit far forward, playing a little bit over aggressive. But if he can catch a stun, he's very close. With the Leshrac wandering out, he's stunned. Nope, Darkseer wanders around it, and that the Leshrac stun was quite off, so just missed out. Maybe a little bit of an over-aggressive play from the Vengeful Spirit. Probably could have played passively until the Leshrac was right in position, and then could have jumped out with the stun. Could have possibly worked a bit better, but Oh, going oh, nice shot, nice kill there, solo kill from the Mirana onto the Juggernaut. Juggernaut walked face first into an arrow, leaped straight in with a follow-up of Starstorm and a few auto attacks. Got that kill. Had a disconnect from Pugner, unfortunately. Should be coming back in a moment. While we're here, and as our team Pandemonium, as my team Pandemonium did get knocked out of the Tide's Wrath tournament last night, I would like to take a little moment to thank all the organisers of Tide's Wrath. They did a fantastic job, our friends over at Southern Cross Dota, which is where a number of these players come from. I know that Ellie spends a lot of time with the Southern Cross Dota. She's a chief editor from the top of my head. But they're good guys, and they're doing a lot of good work for the pro scene in Australia. So, big thanks to them, big thanks to Tag, who was one of the chief admins for the tournament, and I know he did a lot of work for it. So, big thank you to Tag. This pause is almost underway. Almost finished, and we're almost ready to get back into that action. So Sand King's got a fair bit of gold sitting under his little scaly carapace thing, whatever Sand King has. Looks like he's going straight for a Blink Dagger. Could be an interesting choice. I'm not sure how that will work out. I would probably suggest going for an upgraded boots first. Probably get an arcane boots, maybe treads if you are going mid. Mirana's taken a lot of damage, but also the supports are getting scared off by this this creep camp that's really on the hunt for those supports. Mirana's backing off. Doesn't have the arrow for any. Doesn't have the mana for any arrows on this Magnus mid. But yes, I'd possibly suggest getting, especially with Sand King, because Sand King has a relatively short stun range, and he has that positioning is quite key. Quite key to the hero. Got supports just up here, by the way. But yes, that positioning is quite key to the hero, so I think Arcane Boots straight up. We've got a slow straight on Sand King. Nice dodge out of the way, but Leshrac gets caught out by that. The friggin', what's it called, Shockwave. He's gonna have to dodge. Nope. Needed to dodge a couple of AoE skills. The Sand King possibly should have just like sandstormed and kept running straight away off on an angle. This team, the DiH team, does have too much AoE to just sit there in Sandstorm. Yeah, basically I think at this point you have to activate it, run away. Arrow was thrown out, just skimmed past Pugner, but that doesn't stop Mirana, just jumps straight in there, throws his Sandstorm on, cancels that clarity and does a bit of damage. So the Troll's not doing quite as well as the Juggernaut is on last hit, but Juggernaut hasn't had a Darkseer to contend with. On the flip side, Troll Warlord has not died, and looks like Vengeful Spirit, just missed that ultimate. Reverse Polarity just skimmed, but there's too many slows, too much AoE, and they do take out the Troll. Now, I was about to say that Troll Warlord's saving grace is that he hasn't died yet. I apologize to you, I seem to have jinxed you. Meanwhile, Juggernaut gets solo kill on the Mirana in the top lane, so I'm guessing Mirana teleported in, and Juggernaut just went, screw this, Omni Slash. All his mana is currently missing, so it was probably Omni Slash followed up by a Blade Fury getting that kill.
Wait, maybe they're not actually damaging it. No, they are.
The Pugner is working towards Tranquil Boots. Crystal Maiden currently has the Tranquil Boots. These Tranquil Boots are very good on supports. That big drawback being that they cancel when you attack, so that really nullifies any of the bonuses that you get as a carry for possibly getting Tranquil Boots. But those supports, those supports who wander around and aren't spending that much time attacking. A little bit of stack on stuns there. The Leshrac activates. Magnus just charges straight back into the tower, taking that Sand King with him. And the supports are in there. Oh, blink from the Magnus. Blink is out already. 1 second on that shockwave. Takes it out. Could have probably hit that with the Crystal Maiden Frostbite, doing a lot of damage to the Vengeful Spirit. And this is looking pretty scary for the Radiant team. It is currently 1-9. That Magnus has that Blink Dagger already. Pugna has now got Tranquil Boots, which isn't that much. Where's that Darkseer? How's he going on his mech? He's got most of the mech. He's probably about 600 gold away. Assuming that he doesn't have anything on the courier. Yep, about 600 gold away. Troll Warlord looks to be going for a Helm of the Dominator, so we'll probably, hopefully, be looking to stack some creeps within the jungle and then try and catch up on farm that way, because he has been hampered a bit by that Darkseer Ion Shell. Means he hasn't been able to use Berserker's Rage, which lowers the last hitting potential of the troll quite a bit. He does get a fair bit of extra damage when he switches into melee mode, and that bit of extra damage does help with the last hitting. So although Troll is definitely doing his best, just throwing out those hits on the creeps with the Ion Shell and throwing the hits on the Darkseer when the Darkseer is running in with the Ion Shell. And Leshrac, threw out a stun, but did cancel it on the Crystal Maiden. Crystal Maiden's coming in, threatens Leshrac, comes in, throws a Frostbite, and we've got the Darkseer running in behind. We've got 4 Radiant heroes converging, and they're sandwiched at the moment. Got a stun happening on the Crystal Maiden. Leshrac activates the Diabolic Edict, but I think he's going to go down. Darkseer, the Iron Shell's doing too much, but kill for the Troll Warlords. So at the moment we've got a Leshrac trade for a Troll Warlord. Crystal Maiden throws his ultimate on no one, and completely gives away his position. Magnus running in, 2-person reverse polarity, lots of damage from the Pugna Ward. A huge, decent ultimate from the Sand King does manage to get that kill on the Magnus, so Magnus dies before he can get that triple kill with the Shockwave. Crystal Maiden's going to get a kill just before he dies to the Troll Warlord, and Sand King came in to try and throw that stun on the Pugna, but the Pugna Ward did stop that Sand King stun. So that was a fairly big fight, a fairly big bloodbath. Lots of heroes died all over the place. Mirana came in a little bit late to the fight. Troll Warlord, I think, got 2 kills out of that, which is fairly great. Fairly great for him. And the Vengeful Spirit, I think, also picked up a kill on somebody. Just through some stuns and auto attacks. So, I think it was a good fight for the Radiant. 1, 2... Yep, they picked off a number of core heroes, so they picked off three decent heroes, like 3 different decent pickoffs, including the Magnus and the Darkseer, for 2 support. So that was a good fight. The Radiant can be quite satisfied with that. 2-person stun from the Leshrac as they all run in, but Leshrac stops to activate a Diabolic Edict, and that, I don't know if he was already in range of Frostbite from the Crystal Maiden, but it definitely ensured that he was in range for that Frostbite. So, a bit of possibly a mistake there, activating that Diabolic Edict. An arrow comes in, just shaves through everyone. Magnus just runs out of the way, and that is a secured kill for the Dire. Secured tower kill for the Dire. Pugna picking up the last hit. Pings are happening on the Juggernaut for some reason. They want to defend the top tower, but right now with the amount of people are getting swapped and jumping and thrown all over the place here. Darkseer walls coming in, stun from the Leshrac, picks up a kill, but the friggin' Vengeful Spirit and the few hits one more hit coming onto the Troll Warlord. That surprisingly wide Shockwave does get the kill as well. That is 4 heroes going down on the Radiant team, with the Mirana squeaking away on like 80 lives. So that is the Dire team coming back in and asserting their dominance again. They're saying, we are ahead in this game. We want to stay ahead in this game. You Radiant punks, you killed us a little bit. You're not allowed to do that. Stop that. So they came in, they killed everyone. They're killing everyone all up in here. Meanwhile, Juggernaut is farming. Juggernaut is continuing that farm, right now has a Yasha and has got another Blade of Alacrity, so might with the Robe of the Magi, so we might be seeing a diffusal blade on the Juggernaut, which could be fun.
Radiant's top tower is
I've
under
never actually seen
siege.
that, but hang on. Yeah, no, it's definitely not a common thing. I'm trying to think if I have
Radiant's
seen it
bottom
before,
tower is under siege.
but it's definitely not common. I wonder how he aims to use that, if he's going to slow people down when he's using his Blade Fury, or walk straight into an arrow, a bit of damage, puts his Blade Fury out a bit late, but does huge ultimate from the Juggernaut, picking up that kill, but a couple of stuns coming in, getting that kill on the Juggernaut right back. And they did trade a Mirana for a Juggernaut, which is a good trade, but bit unnecessary, but Juggernaut making the best of a bad situation. Magnus is walking in with an Invis rune, and it looks like he could possibly get... Could have almost gotten a 3-person reverse polarity there, but right now he's just looking at the Sand King. Charges in, skewers in, but misses it, and Sand King blinks away to safety. Pings are happening on this Vengeful Spirit. They know he's there. Run, Vengeful Spirit. Run! Nope. Stun on the Crystal Maiden. But here come all 4 heroes and just gets blasted. Magnus picks up that haste rune. And they're going in looking for more blood. DiH team have warded up the Radiant's jungle, keeping wards up all over the place. We have one sentry ward here, which I think, yes, just misses that observer ward. So look at this, look at all those dire wards in the jungle. Radiant are not going to be able to farm very well at all. Oh, and a courier flying over. Just send it back right at the wrong time. Magnus blinks in, wants to get that kill on the courier. They did manage to pick it up, and right now Mirana gets blown up by everyone. The Pugna's nuke damage, as well as the Crystal Maiden coming in there for the last hit. Sand King's jumped in, gets a throw. Magnus jumps in, gets a 3-person reverse polarity and skewer and shockwave on all 3 of them, and just shreds them. Crystal Maiden gets a double kill using her ultimate during all of that, so way too much damage going on to the Radiant team. Radiant team do have a bunch of squishy heroes, and they just can't survive through that wombo. I think Radiant's team's possible saving grace in this fight is they need to get the initiation on these fights. If the Dire gets the jump on them, they're going to die. If the Radiant can get the jump on them with a good epicenter followed up by a good Burrow Strike, that will definitely help a lot. That would be their ideal opening into any one of these fights. If it was a 5 vs 5, or even a 4 vs 5 at this stage, the Epicenter Burrow Strike is their opening, and that is the ticket that they are looking for. If the Radiant can't get that off in a fair fight, it's not going to happen. Sand King blinks in, manages to stun 2 people, stun from the Leshrac onto the Magnus, and Pugna Ward is dropped. Troll Warlord runs in and blast and a skewer and a shockwave, picks up kill on the Troll and the Sand King. Mirana tries to run away, gets that auto attack hit from the Pugna, and Vengeful Spirit is running away, legging it as fast as can, magic wands up, but just takes a few too many slaps from heroes, and a shockwave finishing it up for a triple kill on the Magnus. Apparently everybody is having the same graphical glitches that I've been watching. Alright, I was about to say here we go, but then straight away Leshrac gets blinked on and skewered straight into the fight. 2-person RP, and the Juggernaut just jumps in, Omni Slashes straight over the top of everyone. Pugna's taken a few hits from the tower, might go down. Urn Charge, excellent Urn Charge from the Crystal Maiden, keeps that Pugna alive. Pugna didn't have that mana for Decrepit Fire to keep himself alive. That's what supports are for. The Troll died? Troll didn't end up dying in that engagement. Got caught in a two-person reverse polarity and did manage to survive. So that is good news for the Radiant, but the Leshrac being skewered straight into the fight is something that they need to do without. Alright, this is going to be it. We've got that 4-on-5 or 5-on-5 engagement, fair fight coming up. We need that stun into epicenter. Go Sand King. Stun on Magnus, that will help a lot. Epicenter jumps in with a massive burrow strike over two heroes. Unfortunately, the Juggernaut was spinning during the whole thing, managed to throw off a lot of that damage, and the Crystal Maiden blinks in, uses his ultimate, and Pugner's Ward shredded through some of the health on those heroes. Crystal Maiden jumps in, we got a little zap, and they do trade there, so Pugner is the only person left alive. And they might have staved off this push. I think the Radiant might survive this one. Pugner's up, but right now the Sand King, we got the Sand King Vengeful Spirit and the Mirana up, and Pugner is backing off. I think Mirana ulted? Yep, Mirana ulted. They were trying to get that pick off on the Pugner, but he backs off and teleports away. He's going to wait for the rest of his team to come alive before they try and sort of get any more pushes going, try and kill off those racks. So, looking at the Juggernaut picking up his Manta style, he now does have Diffusal and Manta, and a bunch of other, yep, we got the Magnus heading towards Refresher. Pugner has picked up that, things are happening. Nope, just straight on with the courier. Pugner's picked up the Veil of Discord, now looks to be going for an Aghanim Scepter. Shox has got that Blink Dagger, the Crystal Maiden, and looks to be going a Yule's as well. Darkseer has picked up the Mechanism and now looks to be going a Pipe. Roshan, things are happening at Roshan, so the Dire team's going to try and pick it off. On the Radiant team, we've got a Blink Dagger. On the Sand King, still only just getting boots. Helm of the Dominator, Demon Edge, no other huge items, no other massive items worth of note on the Radiant team, which unfortunately is kind of to be expected with how it has gone, how this game has gone so far. The Dire do have a very commanding lead. Magnus is running in, gets a 3-person RP around the corner, skewer straight. Oh, oh, that was painful. Oh, they melted. Oh, there's so much damage. Reverse polarity into a skewer, into a Crystal Maiden ult, and a Pugner blast, and a shockwave. Oh god. The pain. And now, the Dire team are going to siege this bottom tower. They're bringing in the creeps. Creeps are running in, but I don't know how the Radiant team are going to pick this one up. I think that's possibly a game. That was so huge. But never discount anything. We've seen bigger comebacks from teams. Magnus is teleporting out, so this split push tactics, go the split pushing Leshrac, did manage to distract that Magnus, and this tower is almost in deny range. Magnus wants to deny it, but it's not. 6 health points out of being in deny range, so close, but they are determined to get it. Well, they were determined to get it, but then they called GG. Well played, guys. Thank you very much for playing. Was an entertaining game, slightly one-sided, but I hope my casting wasn't too, like, terrible. Atrocious, that's the word that I was looking for. I hope my casting wasn't too atrocious and everybody enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you very much, and this is Project Swift from Dota is Hard. Enjoy.